Marvel Studios' Eternals is a big movie with big heroes, an epic storyline, and cinematography screaming to be seen in IMAX. As such, it's easy to lose track of the film's smaller characters. Here are some Eternals characters who mean more than you realize.
Let's go.
Remember when Scarlett Johansson appeared in Iron Man 2? It was noteworthy for sure, because Johansson was already a big star with films like Lost in Translation and would-be blockbusters like The Island under her belt. But her first appearance as Natasha Romanoff felt like the character was intended to be a scene-stealing sidekick, not someone who'd go on to become a top MCU character and get her own spin-off movie. There's reason to believe that Kit Harington's Dane Whitman could be set for a similar ascension in this newest MCU phase. In Eternals, it's almost laughable how non-heroic he is, existing for two apparent reasons: to ask the questions fans want answered, and to be a supportive boyfriend.
Why didn't you guys help fight Thanos? Or any war, or all the other terrible things throughout history?
As Cersei reveals to Dane that she is a godlike being, has been on Earth for 7,000 years, and has an ex-boyfriend who could disintegrate him with the blink of an eye, Dane just makes goo-goo eyes and takes her for long romantic walks.
How long were you together?
5,000 years.
I guess you can call that long term.
Which feels a little beneath the Game of Thrones actor who just finished playing Jon Snow, Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, King in the North, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, and Protector of the Realm. Now Kit Harington is just a boyfriend? Perhaps this apparent insignificance is because in scenes we never witness, he is indeed on his own hero's journey throughout the film. Near the end of the film, Dane tells Cersei his family history is complicated, and as any Marvel fan with a smartphone and a search engine can tell you, Dane Whitman will one day become a hero called Black Knight. Of course, the most obvious reveal that Kit Harington will soon be wielding the legendary ebony blade sword and riding on horseback is the second post-credit scene. We see Dane addressing a family legacy that stretches back to the days of King Arthur. Examining the ebony blade, he delivers the ominous phrase, "Death is my reward," before an off-camera voice interrupts him with, "Are you sure you're ready for that?" Rumor has it that Dane's story will be continued in 2022's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. In the comics, the Black Knight not only becomes an Avenger, but is known for his ability to navigate different time periods and alternate realities. Taking all this into account, you can see how Harington's character could become instrumental over the next several Marvel films. On the surface, Kingo's valet/filmographer feels like a walking punchline. Every time Kingo does something heroic, Karun is there to assure the Eternal that he got the shot. Every time someone smashes his camera, Karun hilariously seems to whip out another one.
Kingo, the movie star. I've directed some things too.
But look closer and you'll see the one human that the Eternals have come to trust more than they ever have before, over thousands of years. Granted, it's not like they have much choice. Kingo insists that his valet come along for the reunion, but over time, they begin warming to the man behind the camera. When the smoke clears, Karun possesses not only the friendship and trust of the Eternals, but an incredibly valuable assemblage of raw footage. Imagine being in possession of film footage that would immediately render all theology, religion, and world history irrelevant. What will Karun do with this footage? What is he willing to do with it? And would he do anything without Kingo's approval? By the end of the film, the world likely knows that some major events have occurred, but it's debatable whether the Eternals have revealed themselves. It seems that as their story moves along in the MCU, their existence will become common knowledge. Don't be surprised if all that seemingly comic relief footage shot by Karun is what drags them into the spotlight. While Eternals breaks multiple boundaries within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it treats most of these exactly the way they should be treated, as normal, everyday life. One of these is a relationship between Phastos and his husband Ben, who the other Eternals learn have been building a life together in Chicago with their adorable son Jack.
That's Superman with the cape, and you're shooting laser beams out of your eyes.
I don't wear a cape.
This is the first time a same-sex couple has been featured in a Marvel Studios film. Their kiss as Phastos is heading off to save the world is not only a powerful moment, but a significant one for the LGBTQ community. Considering how many millions of people all over the globe watch every Marvel film, it also means a great deal personally to actor Haas Slayman, who came out as gay in 2017. The actor explained to Variety at the film's premiere, "Beyond a dream come true, it's life-saving. I wish I had that representation when I was a kid. My God, I wish. Can you imagine how many lives this is going to be saving? Kids, young queer folk who are being bullied, and now they get to see this. It's above and beyond." According to writer-director Chloe Zhao, Marvel had already laid out a blueprint for the family of Phastos when she came on board. Finding true love after thousands of years returns a faith in humanity to Phastos, and leads to his personal decision to not only fight for humans, but eventually return to them. So on one level, Ben might feel just like another supportive spouse character in the MCU, no different than Hawkeye's wife Laura. On another level, that might make him one of the most important characters we've ever seen in the MCU. Sprite is among the very first Eternals, debuting in 1976's Eternals issue 9. But in the comics, she is typically a he, who inspired both Shakespeare, who created the character Puck in his image, and J.M. Barrie, who did the same with Peter Pan. Because Eternals features 10 main heroes, there isn't a lot of time for deep dives into these characters. As such, Sprite feels like one of the Eternals that gets short shrift. In the comics, Sprite is much more fully realized, and employs illusions much more frequently. Every bit as mischievous as Loki, Sprite also possesses matter-manipulating abilities similar to Cersei, and is strong enough to lift several tons. In Eternals, Sprite is compared to the Peter Pan story. Not as its inspiration, but because the way she secretly yearns to be with Icarus is reminiscent of how Tinkerbell can never be with the boy who wouldn't grow up. Ultimately, however, the MCU Sprite feels more like Pinocchio, who yearns to be real. In Eternals Volume 5, Issue 1, released just a few months before the movie was released, it was revealed that the Eternals switch gender every few thousand years. This is never mentioned in the movie, but the fan-favorite character is depicted as being female when she first appears on Earth, as well as thousands of years later in the modern age. Another Eternal who gets the Reader's Digest treatment in the feature film is Gilgamesh, another comic character whose history with the title stretches back to the mid-70s. That history is intermingled with Hercules, Achilles, Buffalo Bill, and King David, and for a time he even fought for the Roman Empire. Perhaps it is appropriate in a way that he seems to receive the least screen time of any of the Eternals. In the pages of Marvel Comics, he was punished for many years after learning about the true nature of his heritage. Confined to Olympia, he was branded the Forgotten One and was subsequently ostracized for centuries. In the movie, Gilgamesh is a chef that enjoys preparing bountiful feasts, and has also taken on the personal task of becoming a caretaker for Athena. He also wields a big, powerful punch, which feels a bit redundant after Marvel audiences have already seen several other characters who can do essentially the same thing. In the film, each Eternal is depicted as having their own unique power. In the comics, Gilgamesh, who joined the Avengers for a brief period, also has superhuman speed, can shoot beams of cosmic energy, and can use his telekinetic power to take flight. Which is all very impressive, but perhaps not nearly as much as that meal he makes for the Eternals in Australia.
This is really good, Gil.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about Eternals are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.